Miami, Florida, it's a different football environment because, they're on campus, but the school's incredible. You're in Miami. Like, that's always been the appeal.
Sure.
It's not, well, wait a minute. Do we have enough money? Like, again, you've been to Miami's campus? Good Lord. It's beautiful. They put up a new dorm. Everything's going up. They got to deal with they have a deal with the hospital. I don't know that all this just anger. Oh my God, this is terrible. And I don't know that I think you got a great situation right here. And I think this season in the ACC should be really exciting. At least those three teams, because I think Miami's going to be really interesting.
No, Miami's in a big prove-it year for Mario Cristobal, I believe. I mean, they've lined it up again. I mean, they have recruited extremely well. They've hit the transfer portal well. They have a good staff on paper. They have, bumped up collective commitment. So it's all there. You got to just win some games. I mean, last year they started 4-0. They beat A&M, and everybody thought, oh, here we go. It's going to take off. And then they just absolutely flopped in ACC play. They lost by 3 to Georgia Tech. They lost by 10 to North Carolina. They come back. They beat Clemson, but then they lose to NC State. They lose to Florida State by 7. You lose to Louisville by 7. And you're sitting there with a 7-6 record. And it's Miami that remembers what it's like to be 12-0 and wants to be 12-0, or at least good enough to win the ACC, which is what they were supposed to dominate when they went into the league, and it hadn't happened. And Cristobal was paid an enormous amount of money to come in and turn it around, and it hasn't happened yet. So they brought in Cam Ward at quarterback, the Washington State transfer that there was a big bidding battle to get, and they got to get it done, frankly. Like, they've got to be a top 25 program and a playoff contender, I think, to have any faith in Mario Cristobal going forward.
So I may be the last or the only big, I'm a believer in Mario Cristobal, and I understand, take a knee, please. You see, EA Sports says you can take a knee, I guess, in the game. And
really,
someone had said that, and Georgia Tech football put out, please no. Like, it doesn't. They didn't want that. That was good trolling. I just look at what he did at Oregon. They had a lot of work to do, and by his third recruiting class, his second season, they had less work to do than Miami, maybe. But he comes in 9-4. But that second year, they're 12-2. They go to Ohio State and win. Like, he is recruiting at a level and has stacked these classes up and then filled with the portal. And again, Miami, fantastic place for portal, right?
Yeah. Yes.
They got money. It's, again, incredible school academically, the grad programs, things like that. And yeah, you're sitting to Cam Ward. He's sitting up in Pullman. Hey, man, come on down to Miami. 1 year, we got you. Like, it's set up. And I think he recruits to such a level. And Dan Lanning comes in, and Mario Cristobal is not leaving Oregon, except he wanted to go back to his hometown. I think he's from Miami. He's from South Florida, right? All that. I mean, he's at FIU, all that. South Florida guy. And that's what pulled him back. But I think his recruiting has been so strong, and they've got such depth of talent, they should be very good this year. Last year was not acceptable, but I do see this as a 10-win team. I don't think the schedule's outlandish. They got Florida in that first game, which we've talked about from the Florida perspective, from both sides, as just a massive ladder game, referendum game that first week. And that's what in-state rivalry should be. But then, Florida A&M, Ball State at South Florida, Virginia Tech at home, at Cal, big conference game. At Louisville will be tricky. Florida State, it's going to be a huge game. Duke's interesting. I don't know what to make of Duke this year. Could be good. At Georgia Tech, Wake, at Syracuse. There's a nice season there to be set up for the Hurricanes. And I think Mario Cristobal is still on the right track. And I may be proven, oh boy, is this going to be humiliating because we'll see. But the structural stuff that's set up at Miami is set up to compete at the highest level. I don't know whether they can win a national title, not maybe this present team, but they can absolutely be like a Final Four kind of team or something like that. I don't know. Like, there's nothing at Miami holding it back. The recruits seem to not be worried about. I mean, the only downside to Miami is the stadium situation, right?
Yeah, but even that's overcomable. I don't think that's a
Right.
major issue.
The South Beach
you're right.
situation often overwhelms the.
Yeah,
I don't get to run out to pulsating 80,000 everything. Yes, and then they don't get to go to the clubs.
That's right. You want to compare that to Starkville? Go ahead.
Yeah, there's little different. So there's pluses and minuses to Coral Gables. Yes,
and I do think your point that it's a great portal place because A, they do have money, but B, like, how many kids from South Florida are like, oh, I'm going to go away for college, and you may go away and like, I don't like it, I'm going to go back home. Well, if home's Miami and the U is rolling, then it's a great place to go back to.
It's the schedule geographically in recruiting, and this would be Portal N. It is the most. You could argue USC also but there is nothing within I believe it's, I don't know, is it 5 hours to Orlando now? It used to be 5 to Florida. I guess UCF is now maybe it's 4 to Orlando. I've made that drive before. I don't know. But there, you can draw a circle around all the talent in South Florida, and you can't play at home, close to home, within 4 hours at least. And that's UCF. And yes, they're in the Big 12, but I don't think, that's different. Basically, you got to go to Florida, which I think is 5 hours. If you're a kid in Atlanta, you drive a 5-hour circle around your house. You can go to like 40 programs, or 10, right? You can go all the way to Alabama, I'd say, Tennessee, Clemson, South Carolina, Georgia, all these things. So that just geographically, if you're a South Florida kid, and it is a unique culture and a unique place, and you want to be playing near home, you want to play, this is the only choice. And that's always been there. And again, you're right. Like, you want to come back. All right, you did your thing. You took off for 3 years. You went off. Ohio State recruits really well. Oh, come on back home. Finish up down here. That's it. Go ahead on the other part. I'm sorry.
No, that's perfectly fine. I was just I'm revisiting the schedule here, and I mean, I just think there's a great chance, if they're doing what they should be doing, that they're 6-0 going to Louisville October 19th, and maybe 7-0 hosting Florida State October 26th. And that's the season right there, because after that, Duke in Miami, at Georgia Tech, Wake Forest in Miami, at Syracuse. They will go into the year at least solidly favored in all of those games, and in the games preceding that 2-game swing of at Louisville and Florida State. So it's there, and there will be big year 3 referendum games. Cristobal against Napier in the opener. Cristobal against Brent Pry of Virginia Tech, September 27th. So those will be, I think, some real big games there that Miami would do well for itself, and Mario Cristobal would do well for himself.